getting you ready for Rangers and Astros tonight. That game will be right here on 105.3 The Fan. It'll also be on Fox, where you can find this man, the play-by-play, Joe Davis. How's it going today, Joe?
Hey, guys. Good. How you doing?
Man, we were really good up to nothing. And now that it's 2-1, we're like terrified and frightened. Should we be?
Yeah, I mean, I understand it, given who's on the other side. It's just so hard to bet against the Astros until they're really finished. I mean, still, it's a 2-1 series advantage, but I totally get the trepidation that Rangers fans might be feeling at this point, given who it is on the other side.
Joe, I get to do pre and post for the Rangers on television, and I know that sometimes when I'm having to analyze a team that I don't really know very well, and I'm not saying you don't know the Rangers or don't know the Astros, but it's not a team you follow every day for 162 games. How much do you go and talk to people like Eric Nadel or Jared Sandler or the people around the Rangers / the people around the Astros to get as much information as you can about this team?
Yeah, that's a big part of the job for sure. Part of my routine when I get a team for the first time is to get on the phone with one of the TV guys or radio guys before I even get on site and get you can read everything you want about it and you can look at all the stats, but to really get the opinion of somebody who's got the boots on the ground and has been there and seen it all season, because you guys know that to really understand a baseball team is to see them play every day. So I always try to do that when I get a team for the first time.
What was something that was told to you about the Rangers, whether it was back against Tampa or Baltimore, that you were surprised with, that you didn't think was a key to the team or something like that? You're like, wow, I've had no clue that this was part of the Rangers story this year.
I didn't know they were this good on defense. I think that, it hasn't been talked about enough how good they've been on defense. The offense kind of stole the headlines, and it was an amazing offense throughout the regular season. I know streaky, but put it all together, really good offense. The defense, though, statistically during the season, the words that I got from Eric and from Jared and talking to those guys before the postseason started was take a look at how steady this group is. And it's not just been steady plays. It's been the spectacular plays as well, like Young made in the double play in the first game of the division series, like Tavares made last night. So the defense, I think, would probably be, and I think anytime, guys, that defense is a strength for a team, it's probably an unheralded strength. I think it's the phase of baseball that we don't give enough attention to. So that, for me, would be something that had flown under the radar until I had it brought to my attention.
Yeah, Joe, I like what you're saying, and I think it's more important now that you can't put your second baseman in right field and your shortstop at second base, that all of a sudden these guys do have to show more range, and I do like this year of baseball where we're seeing more guys make better plays on the infield than they're just positioned correctly where the ball was going to be hit.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that when we talk about the new rules, it wasn't one of the first things that you heard people talk about, but one of the outcomes of the shift ban has been, I think, more highlight defensive plays because guys have to cover more ground. And I think that's been one of the, I don't want to say unintended consequences, but one of the pleasant surprises that have come out of the rules.
One of the things, Joe, I work with Mike on a daily basis. We worked together for about 3-4 years now, and I know baseball. I've played baseball my whole life growing up and everything, but obviously I maxed out at some point. But working with Mike is different because he played in the league. He was there. He experienced it. So I learn on a different level. What's it like working with Smoltz, who played at that highest level? And it seems like you could probably learn something new about the game every day.
For sure. And he does, as you guys hear, such a great job of diving into the pitch-to-pitch strategy in a baseball game. And during the postseason, it's everything. So, I mean, there's a reason the guy's won a bunch of awards for his broadcasting. I don't know that anybody does it the way he does, not just diving deep like he does, but so many times being right. And in doing so, teaching me, and I hope teaching everybody that's listening a little bit about the game within the game, because you guys know you can pull back so many layers to baseball. It's part of what makes it so beautiful, and I think John does such a great job of doing that at a digestible rate for people.
How fun has it been getting to talk to Bochy before these games and preparing, because we get to interview him on a weekly basis, and we've learned so much from him this year.
Yeah, but with both guys, with Bochy and with Dusty. We get to meet with both of them before the game, and it's like, man, these are two not just great managers, but two baseball legends, two of the greatest managers ever to do it. I mean, 26 seasons managing for both these guys, a half a century in baseball. Think of the things that they've seen. I mean, Dusty relays to us just about every day, I think, without even intending to, conversation he had with Hank Aaron, or something as random as like Dr. Jack Ramsey told him this or that, or Jimi Hendrix. And it's just, I mean, these are like two baseball renaissance men here. That it's just such a pleasure. It's definitely been one of the things that has made this series extra special for me. Is being able to be with those guys each day.
Yeah, I was in the pregame last night. I did see a little cut of both of the managers talking and how they were like, "Yeah, it's fun for both of us because we've matched up so many times." But do you get that sense of competitiveness from the two of them too, even though they've known each other so long?
For sure, yeah, and I think that they would be the first to tell you it's not about them, and it's not about, they're not trying to compete against the other guy. But I don't think that you put together the kind of baseball careers those guys have had without having that as the foundation of everything you do. Like, they badly want to win, and they've both said too, though, part of what has made this extra special for them is the fact that they've got the guy that they respect as much as they each do managing on the other side.
You've been around Corey Seager for, you've seen him, you saw him grow, and we got him. And I know when he was coming over here, I was really excited. His name's Corey. My name's Corey. I mean, it makes sense. And he also wears my number, so that's even cooler too. But we've been watching this guy, and he's just aggressive as a hitter, and that's how he is. Was he like that as a Dodger too? Was that what his vibe was then, or what? How much has he grown since you saw him in a Dodgers uniform?
Yeah, that's always been him, Corey. And here's the thing, right? And you guys have as much of an appreciation for this by now with 2 seasons of him as I did having him for the first 6 years of his career there. When it works, it's awesome, right? When it works and he's singling on the first pitch that he sees from Justin Verlander, he's blasting a home run to ambush a guy and set the tone, it's awesome, and it changes the game. But when he's a little off and he starts carving fly balls the other way, like you saw last night with those 4 flyouts, it can be maddening because it happens so quick. And there's this buildup with your superstar coming up, and then bam, first pitch, he's out. Cory Seager's at his very best, like he was in 2020 when he won the MVP, and like he was in the division series when there's that balance. There's the aggression on the first pitch, but there's also the willingness to take a team at bat and take a walk. So I don't know that something has shifted that much. I think they pitched him tough, right? I think he continues to be aggressive on the first pitch, and those are getting put in play and not going where he wants them to. But I think he's at his very best when there's that balance, and he does incorporate some of that willingness to work a deep at bat into his game.
Joe Davis here on 105.3 The Fan. Joe, you've got to call a couple of playoff games here now, the Baltimore game and last night against Houston. You've been in Houston. Obviously, you've been in other places too. We're considered more of a quiet stadium, and I'm just wondering how much, I hate saying this, but playing baseball, how much louder is it in Houston than it is in Arlington for these games?
There's not. It's not. It's louder here. I think Houston it's at a point where it's still awesome, but you're looking at a place in Texas that has not had postseason baseball in 7 years, has never had it in this park for their team. And in Houston, it's 7 straight years of doing this. And you don't want to say there's fatigue, but I think it's just human nature. This is not like, oh my gosh, we finally made it. No, this is what they do. This is where they go. And so I think it's been louder in the 2 games I've done at Globe Life Field, the Division Series game where Eovaldi was so awesome, and then early on last night. Now they took him out of the game quickly, but peak volume, and I think all things being equal, if the score is tight, for me, Texas is louder.
What about Philadelphia? How crazy does it get there with those fans?
Texas is not as loud as Philadelphia because no place is. It is awesome, guys. I mean, you've seen it on TV. It was last year we had the Phillies for the whole postseason run. The division series The division series was the best postseason environment I had ever been in to that point. And it's not like I've been doing this for decades, but I've been to enough postseason games where, there's enough of a sample there where that was shocking to me, that I'm sitting there in, game 3 of the division series thinking this is better than the environment I've been in. So the way that it looks like it's headed, it looks like we might get to feel that again.
Who does your hair, Joe? Because it's always perfect, man. Every time I see it, I'm just like, gosh, that's good.
Man, you buried the lead. I wish you would have started with that question. Get me really going. Geez, I guess I do it. Pretty simple process. You know what gets tough, though, boys, is when we get on the road here, some of the blow dryers don't have the things that, I don't even know what you call them, the things that help it, like, aim the air. And you should see me. It's just a freaking mess, me trying to get that to blow where I want it to. But I'm glad to know that it turns out okay by the time we get on TV.
Yeah, man, it looks great. It absolutely does.
Well, Joe, you have a special job. I'm wondering whether it was growing up, whether it is now. Who is somebody that you just love listening to call a game?
It's crazy to say, but the guy that I grew up that's calling all the biggest games and that I just kind of by osmosis was trying to probably be like was Joe Buck. And to go from that, the kid that, looked at him, this guy doing this job that I thought, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to do exactly that one day, to coming to Fox about a decade ago, meeting Joe, and now looking at him as a mentor, and then to be able to pinch myself daily thinking about this, to be the one to take over for Joe with him going to ESPN. Again, I shake my head even retelling that story to you, how crazy it is that I'm the stupid lucky one that gets to do that, given the background of it's exactly what I've always wanted to do.
You also worked side by side with Oral Hershiser, and I know Mike, that was his pitching coach
here in Texas.
When he was here in Texas, and we were at a spring training game once, and he was my favorite pitcher growing up. Even though he didn't pitch for the Rangers, he was still he was in those World Series, and I remember seeing him in the booth next door one night, and I was like, oh my God, Oral Hershiser's right there. What do I do? Anyway, Mike says that he was just a great guy. Can you just tell me a little more about my favorite pitcher?
Yeah, here's what I'll tell you first, and it will tell you probably all you need to know. My third kid, his middle name is Oral, because as I told Oral in the note that I wrote him to tell him that we were doing it, if my kid grows up to have the qualities that he has, I'll have done something right. He is one of my best friends in the world, one of the most meaningful people in my life. Honestly, my parents, my wife, and my immediate family, but then Oral's right next to them on that list. So he's as special of a man as you could ever imagine. You picked a good one to have be your favorite pitcher.
Nice.
I know you get very busy and you have to go to the park early, so you don't get to explore, I'm assuming, too much the cities you get to go to, but have you had a special meal here in Dallas-Fort Worth that you're like, that is one of the best meals I've had, or is that something that you can only find here in Dallas-Fort Worth?
We don't get enough time to do that just given the night games. We've only been out one time. We went to Carbone the other night, which I've been to in New York and loved in New York, but it's Jeter's favorite spot from his playing days in New York. So he's like, hey, we got one here. We got to do it. So we went and had an awesome meal at Carbone the other night. Oh,
so do you eat with like Big Papi and A-Rod and stuff too?
Another pinch me thing, sitting there having pasta and wine with Jeter and A-Rod. And gosh, yeah, I guess I think it happened. Maybe I dreamt that, but I'm pretty sure it happened the other night.
You gotta try out Hurtado Barbecue. It's right near the stadium. They're in the stadium. Okay. Hurtado.
Oh.
Yeah, they.
I don't know if you guys know this, but so I don't have a whole lot going on. Like I'm pretty boring, dude. I got my family, my job, but the other thing is food. I'm obsessed with food, and in my free time, I like to smoke.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I'm really into barbecue. So I just don't give myself enough time to take advantage of the stuff. I'm being honest. Wherever I go,
okay.
I've never been to a museum in a town I've gone to. I rarely venture out. I'm pretty boring, dude. But I should be taking advantage more of that kind of stuff.
I'll tell you what I'll do for you, because Hurtado's is in the stadium. They have a place where the line is 30 minutes long every game. I can have them bring up kind of like a sampler platter for you and Smoltzy well before the game, like at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So that way you're not trying to eat in between innings. I know that can be quick. So we'll make sure to get whatever Hurtado's has at the stadium today. They will give you a sampler platter so you can try out what they have at the ballpark.
Tell you what, between you guys complimenting my hair and sending me barbecue, I have a new favorite show.
That's what I'm talking
and city. Thank you, boys.
I'm loving it. Joe, thanks a lot for hopping on with us today, man. We look forward to hearing you on the broadcast tonight, man.
Okay, guys. Great to talk to you.